Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk.
Yeah, baby.
And we have a full house tonight, don't we, guys?
We do. Look, we're all in the same room.
We're all in the same room. We're all live, and we're all together here, and this is going to be epic, is it not, guys?
Yes, totally epic.
Yes. So we're going to...
Someone's got audio coming out somewhere. There we go.
Anyway, let me start off with Adam. Which camera? Oh, this is my camera.
Yeah,
right
that's
here.
your camera.
I'm Mike Dixon. This is Simply Your Device Friday Night Tech Talk, and with our special guest all the way from Tennessee, Mr. Mobile Geezer himself.
Hey, folks, Mobile Geezer here, the original Jersey guy, because I'm the oldest of this group. Back in New Jersey for a change, which is very unusual. I haven't been years. Anyway, you can follow me, Mobile Geezer, YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, mobilegeezer.wordpress.com, and very happy to be here with the guys. So we got a whole Jersey group here.
Oh, yeah, hold on. Yeah. So everyone hopefully heard Welcome Back Cotter play there for a second. Sorry, it was too loud initially. But also, we want to welcome him back to New Jersey.
Thank you very much.
The Taylor ham pork roll debate starts here.
There you go.
All right.
And by the way, I wanted, before I go on to Will, hit the like button, hit the share button, get the word out there now. Get the word out there now that we're live, because this is maybe once in a lifetime event. But anyway, I'll go expand on that later. Live from Sicklerville, New Jersey, Mr. Will D. How you doing,
What's
sir?
going on, everybody? Happy Friday.
Oh yeah, I need everybody to subscribe. Get the word out. We want to get Will up to 60, brother. We gotta get you to 60
Nice.
subs.
I'm at 50.
He's stuck at 57. Darn. By the way, as a little side note, so my friend Tom has the V20. So I had a little issue. He had a little issue. I had to completely get rid of his old account. Started a new account, and then I had his phone. I subscribed to your channel. So that's how you got 57.
That's how I got 57. I was
On
wondering.
account if he loves you.
Mike snuck it in
boy,
there.
Let me tell you, George is ripe with the puns. Let me tell you.
And he
So-
did
ready.
say this is a once-in-a-lifetime event, so just once in a lifetime, a man has a moment. Okay, I had to get that out.
Nice.
And over here, handling the helm, the controls, my brother. Thank
Yes.
you so much. Everybody give big props to my brother for opening up his house. Of course, Studio 2
totally.
wouldn't exist without my brother and all his tech gear. Does he have some gear here?
Yes, he's got
He has
some
some
gear.
serious
Yeah,
gear
he
here.
does.
Adam, go ahead, plug away your channel.
I am Adam of Geekheim. My channel now is just called simply Geekheim. It's the home for geeks. That's what it literally means. Do lots of geeky related content and all that kind of stuff. Geekheim here, Adam of Geekheim on the Twitters. Thank
Okay.
you all for coming.
Just a side note, if you happen to lose YouTube feed, I'm on Facebook Live over here. Courtesy.
Are you saying I can't do my job?
You can do your job, but listen.
Oh.
Listen. There could be we could have an internet issue in this region.
That's true. YouTube has gone down
Okay,
before.
so should we go to our
yes,
special
we
guest?
have a special guest
We
in
have
the
a
studio.
special guest too. Come here, bud. Come here. This is my nephew, my brother's son. How you doing?
Hello.
This
Good.
is Liam.
Good.
Liam, what is today?
Happy birthday!
Happy
Yeah.
birthday!
Happy
Look, you're on
birthday,
the
right?
camera. The camera's right there. I know it's confusing.
Yeah.
But so how's it feel to be? How old are you? How's it feel to be 10? Not the same as 9, wasn't it?
No.
No.
Almost.
Okay.
Almost.
So what are you looking forward to your 10th birthday or your 10th year here? What do you got going on? What do you got plans for?
Things.
Got vacation coming up. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And taking over the world. The same thing we do every night. Oh.
Now
No,
He's humoring Dad.
Yeah.
your sister's doing what?
That yes, he is not lying.
Fire and pain.
So one last thing. You tell the world what you like to play. You play Minecraft?
Yeah.
What else do
Yeah,
you like
we
to
do.
play?
Fortnite.
Fortnite? Okay.
Gee, what a surprise.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Everybody likes
So
Fortnite.
that's your part of that's
me.
part of the tech of you,
You
right?
don't like it?
Yes.
And then when your dad brought the
Uh,
Google Home in, you guys really dug it, you and your sister, didn't you?
Yeah.
You still like Google?
Yeah.
He's got one upstairs in his room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
he
cool.
can never say,
And
homie, don't
just-
play that.
And I can help my option.
Hold the mic closer.
Google Home because today even they couldn't stop a song that was really loud, and I think they thought they weren't being loud enough because louder, and then I just yelled up there from the playroom, "Hey Google."
No, no, everyone stuff. 14,000 things just binged in here.
Yeah.
And
You stopped it, right?
and stopped it
Cool.
all
All
the way
right.
down.
Good man, good man.
That's why
All
he's
right.
got the Superman, because he's the hero.
Yeah.
And you know what new tech thing he's going to do? He's going to go up there and show Bobcha how to get this stream up on the TV.
Oh yeah, you got it
Yeah.
on the big screen.
All right.
Well, you have a happy birthday. I'll be talking to you, right?
All
Going
right.
down the street.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, bud.
All right. Love you, buddy.
All right. The birthday boy, everybody.
Happy birthday.
Woo!
Bye.
All right. Yeah, phone tech at work. Oh, no, Taylor Hammett's pork roll, my man. At least for me.
Maybe in Hudson County.
Yeah, maybe that's a North thing. Thank you, Nigel, for wishing my son a happy birthday.
So yeah, we had that. It was this all came about and Adam
Oh,
pointed.
Big Dog's making me feel bad. He's got six subscribers and no videos.
Wow.
That I think I'm 2 videos for every subscriber I have.
All right.
That's no good. Dang it. All right.
So we were talking, guys. We've been doing a lot of. I gotta look at this camera. I gotta remember to look at this camera. We were talking, and we just got a lot of stuff to cover here. So let me just wait before I start. George, has New Jersey changed since you've been here?
Well, this is not my area of Jersey, but kind of look. Now, of course, I'm from North Jersey, so I know up there has changed a lot.
Okay.
Since I left, but I've been out of Jersey for 30 years.
Okay. All right. I was just curious. So and wow. And what did you bring today? What was your
brought
phones
the,
of your travel
I
today?
brought the Galaxy S10e.
Mhm.
and
Okay. All right. That's cool. Will, you're awfully quiet over there.
No,
I know you're winding up.
He's
Yeah.
researching.
You're
Getting
winding up. So
Oh,
I'm just
look at
listening and
this.
following the chat.
Oh, we got to adjust this shot here because I can't have the camera in front of Will there. There we go.
Okay.
That's a little bit better. Sorry, Will.
Problem.
We got him behind a microphone and a camera. Poor guy.
Yeah, Will has the thing about getting pictures taken.
Yeah, let me tell you,
I like pictures.
he doesn't like
Forbes
it
is
almost as much as I don't.
So
Hey, Forbes.
Forbes here. Okay.
Yeah, Nigel,
welcome.
the Butler, Sean mentioned again, like I think you guys should turn this into a podcast.
there you
It was
go.
a podcast for a couple episodes, but
It is just-
things just got out of hand
Yeah. So
time wise.
But I guess we'll jump into some things with the show, guys.
Yeah.
I got.
Oh, this wasn't it? I thought we were done.
See, even Adam comes out some quick ones, right? George?
every once in a
Uh-huh,
while.
yeah.
So,
Or maybe I'm just a bad influence. Who knows?
so we had 2 stories, but one was a little long because the as I call the meat of the show, it has a lot of tentacles, has a lot of
That's
directions
true.
you could go into.
The,
So-
the meat this week is squid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
And I think we might just get a rant out of Mike.
I feel it coming
Oh.
live
Right.
and in person.
Yeah.
I never had that one. I don't think I had that. So.
Just don't anyone flip my desk, please. It's-
So George, being you were the lucky one, you got your story. So
Okay.
take it away. Go ahead, do your thing.
Well, I just know the May 14th is the 1+7 event in New York City. And they're coming out for the first time ever with 2 different devices. Coming up with 1+7. Me, it looks an awful lot like a 1, which I have, so I'm very interested. But then they're also coming out with the 1 Pro. So, Android Authority put out a story this week with some actual OnePlus 7 Pro camera samples, and I just thought that was a good start because first time the OnePlus is going to have, the OnePlus 7 Pro is going to have three times zoom, an ultra wide angle camera, and a night mode. And I'm hoping it's a lot better than the OnePlus 6E's night. But so I'm pretty excited for that phone. And if you look on Android Authority site and look up OnePlus camera samples, there's some pretty nice shots showing actual examples of each type of shot. Looks pretty good to me. So I just wanted to throw that in for this week because I'm pretty excited. Matter of fact, they have one picture taken with the zoom, with the 3x zoom from the Azerbaijan Formula One race, which I was watching while they were probably pitching. Formula One being
Well,
my
of course,
favorite
they apparently have alliance with McLaren, right? They
yeah,
got a car,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, that's McLaren in the picture. But since that's 3x zoom, he had to shoot that picture from way on the other side of the track from the stand. So that's a pretty nice zoom shot, 3x zoom shot. Anyway, so that's only, and they have a night mode shot. I don't know what city that was. They're shooting from high up an entire city at night. And what struck me as pretty cool is, you know how with the lights you always get the flare. I don't see any flare in that picture.
No.
Pretty nice. So keep in mind, OnePlus, what Google and everybody else is backing it up again. So what's the price on the plus
7?
No, the regular.
$6.99.
$699. Okay, so they've jacked that up, but
Yeah.
then OnePlus 7 Pro is going to be $799. So maybe compelled to go get it. Pretty sweet to me. And I usually wait for the T version. I got the 5T, the 6T.
Okay.
Know that I can wait this.
I don't think they'll come out with a T. They're still having the Pro and the 7.
Yeah,
I don't
some
think they're
people are
gonna-
thinking
There
this
was
will go
talk
into-
about, there's somebody came up with this notion of there's the standard phone, then the Pro, and then later on would be the 5G.
and that could be the T. I don't know.
Right, instead of calling it the T.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the 5G.
Yeah.
Somebody is.
Yeah,
Nah.
I'm with you on that one.
I'm the one that's been saying all year, wait till next year before you buy a 5G phone, but that's just my opinion. But anyway, I think the OnePlus 7 Pro is looking to be a pretty exciting.
So you're really
device.
tempted to get it, huh?
Closer and closer.
Okay.
So we'll see. But Rishi, I don't know if Rishi's in here, but I know he's going to be at
Yeah, I
the
think he's
event,
gonna
and
be at the event.
Android Stud, I believe, is going to be Leo's going to be at the event.
He
So
said he got
yeah, so we're going to get some pretty sweet coverage. So after I see what they do, I'll probably be making a look forward to it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, now you were talking earlier before. Of course, as always, we talk before with this story. Is that you seemed also tempted with the Pixel 3a.
Yes, yeah. Now of course,
Get
next
those two
week
are going
is-
to blow your budget, right?
yeah, no, right. It's like it's one or the other, not both, because next week is Google's
I/O.
Google I/O, and that's a developer event. And as far as I know, they've never introduced a product, but they are this time. They're going to be introducing the cheaper versions of the Pixel 3a, and the Pixel 3a XL. And I haven't had a Pixel in years, so I'm very tempted, as opposed to
Okay.
get it cheaper with the same camera as the Pixel. But I think the OnePlus is probably not.
I have to
I
say,
would go with the one.
Unless
I will
somebody
go-
gives
yeah.
me huge donations in my stream next week.
Yeah.
Super chat will be open. Right?
yeah. There's no super chat right here, but listen, you could always go to George's channel and make donations on
Yeah,
George's.
you can donate $700-800 next week on my
We
channel,
got
8
that-
p.m.
What's that thing? There is a donation link,
Buy
isn't
me a
there? On
coffee
all,
or
no, not that one. No, that's for me. Buy a
Wow.
coffee, but
Well,
For-
other
for-
people have.
I know, but I'm talking about though like a link. But anyway, you never know. Somebody might be gracious enough to give you a donation.
Did
You
you
know.
say gracious or crazy? Oh, gracious.
Yeah.
I'll
A
take
little bit
either.
of both.
You know.
So, I mean, I'm sold on OnePlus, and the
So
only
am I.
downside I can say about OnePlus is I have absolutely no desire, zero desire right now to go and get this phone. Only reason it's my OnePlus 6 is flawless.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely
my OnePlus
flawless.
62, but I still
Flawless,
OnePlus with a better camera, a much better camera.
I don't know. I'm sorry, George. The camera that's in my 6 right now is stellar. I'm very pleased with it. Very pleased with it. And if I really want to get picky, then I'll get the Gcam. Put the APK in there too.
Mike,
You know what I mean?
That's
when you
true.
go on vacation, you'll wish you had that wide angle.
Yeah.
Uh, Well, I got it right here. It's,
Yeah,
it's
but you
I got my LG phone.
But you got the wide angle in the
True.
telephoto. You know.
I know. So
So he loves his 6, so I'm thinking he's got a stellar 6 and he's getting his kicks. Okay.
oh, man.
George brought the
Yeah,
singing
I want to give a shout out to my mom. Mom's in the house.
In the house.
In the
Carol.
house. Mom's in the house, but Mom and my wife Patricia, if you happen to catch them on the stream, they're doing a babysitting duty, are they not?
They are.
Because of Liam's sister. I was going to
Yeah.
say crazy, but
Crazy sister.
yeah. So,
But mom had to get the visit in with George.
yes, Mom got
she
to meet.
did.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
And she doesn't drive after the sun goes down
Mhm.
because that's when the vampires come in.
right,
Okay.
right.
Well,
So-
you know they only come out at night. Okay, sorry.
Real quick before we go on, I'll take a few. I see JQ. Thank you for stopping in. Nigel, shout out to Nigel for stopping in. Let's see, Big House Productions. Guys, pick somebody. Give them a shout out.
Sean Okatora.
Mm-hmm.
Orjakor, sorry.
He picked the hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6, of course, is in here. Nigel, you said Nigel.
I'm going to shout out this
JQ.
Will D person.
JQ is in here. Phone tech at work.
Nigel and Sean both think the OnePlus 7 Pro looks good. Nigel's thinking about getting that one for himself.
Well, he returned one of his.
He returned.
But he got another one
Huawei
back.
P30, but he was thinking about getting a OnePlus 6T, but they wouldn't let him. He had to take the same phone and replace it.
Mill Hustle just popped in.
Okay,
Well-
Yeah, and it
OnePlus is
didn't-
cool.
It didn't
Cool.
let me
Cool.
tag him in there. That's weird.
So-
Anyway.
So yeah, thank you for everybody showing up. Like I said, I was so excited for this day happening. So thank you everybody who's in there. We got 21 guys,
We
21
appreciate
people.
you guys very,
Thank
very,
you very much. This is awesome. 21
Yeah.
people in the room
Good.
tonight.
It's an event.
Yes. So, Will, again, you're awfully
What's up?
quiet. I know you're winding up. You got anything to throw out
I'm just listening.
before we dive into the meat of the show?
I'm ready,
before we
I'm ready,
dive
Mike.
into the squid.
I'm ready.
The
Watch out
squid.
for those ink sacs.
Okay. Listen, I'm so prepared that I actually broke out a Google Doc. Okay,
Big time.
And Adam, that's saying something. Even
That
though
sure is.
I butchered the heck out of it, probably.
Even though you deleted all my notes that I made about the Apple article that I was made for myself at the bottom.
I did.
Yeah, it says Adam Apple article personal notes. All,
Yeah, I saw
all,
that.
all
Everything's
deleted.
gone.
I don't what I didn't do that. I didn't do
Isn't
that.
this what older brothers do to younger brothers?
Yeah, they sure do.
I
They're
never
like,
did
"Uh-oh,
that. I was
he's
always
gonna make
good."
me look bad during the stream. I'll teach him. It's all good.
So I got a script here. I'm going to read to you in my opening thoughts, and we'll dive into this. Yes, gotcha. All of us here and there love our phones and technology that makes them awesome. Outside our own little world, friends, family, and the masses, they just use them. Given the casual nature, the masses can be easily influenced by news and social media. In order to get the clicks and page views, those outlets more than often not push doom and gloom
More often
They
than not.
They push the doom and
And he
gloom
wrote
stories.
this, folks.
Yeah, he wrote
Well,
it.
I had a little help. I kind of
I reworded some of it.
yeah, I had help. Anyway, everything from we're spending too much time on them to Big Brother, aka Facebook, is spying on us. By chance, I came across this video from Rene Ritchie where he breaks down the New York Times piece titled "Apple Cracks Down on Apps That Fight iPhone Addiction." It spoke to me in a big way, and one thing was too, I was kind of struggling to find a story, and this happened to fall on my lap. And I actually watch Renee's story before even say, "Wow, this is something we need to talk about." I watched it twice to understand, and then went to the New York Times story and kind of dove into it. So I'm gonna take with Adam's help. We're gonna play some segments from Renee's part.
Buckle up, folks.
Yes, and some things were some key features of or points that he was making that I wanted to expand and have a conversation. Now, of course, the first one when we're doing this, Adam and I were kind of planning this on Wednesday. Adam came out with boom, and that's why I have the section there saying Adam has his say. Please.
Oh no, I did boom.
Yeah, you did a boom.
Oh no.
So let's open up with the first one, Adam, if you don't mind.
Apple cracks down on apps that fight iPhone addiction. Now, that's not The Onion. That's not Saturday Night Live. That's an actual headline from the New York Times, the Gray Lady, the paper of record. The Times could also easily have used a different headline. Apple finally removes child-targeting spyware from the App Store. I don't know if it would have baited any fewer clicks, but I do know the Times just shouldn't be in that business either way.
And out of the blue, Adam says,
I don't remember what I said because you deleted my notes.
That's what he said out of the blue.
I don't know how the heck I deleted these notes, but
It's
do you
okay.
remember what you said a little bit?
Honestly, no, and I didn't even listen to him say it that time because I was busy running things. But no, it just all has to do. Well, yeah,
That's how they sell newspapers, or that's how they get people to have eyes on their channel, or whatever the case may be.
Yes. All right, good. See, he reminded me. Now, granted, the New York Times should be in the business of true newsery, but just about no one. It's not a word at all. It's a word I made up. But everywhere does it now, where they have to do the, like in the regular news, it's if it bleeds, it leads, and there's not really much bleeding in technology until Skynet comes along. So they have to have these clickbaity titles.
Yeah.
So
Grab your
There's
attention.
another new word, clickbaity.
clickbaity. Well, clickbait is a word.
Not to be confused with Clydebaity.
This is comedy gold. I hope 6 of we meant that in the right way.
Oh, don't worry. Or 6, you better have an empty bladder because you're going to pee yourself, okay? Because it's going to be good stuff.
But don't get pissed off. Okay.
Yeah.
I've gone too far.
So I mean, Adam said essentially that it was what he just said. What he just said here.
You won't hear me the rest of the night now.
Well, yeah. Turn him off.
I'm just
Mute the mic.
All right.
No, don't do that. It's the truth, and we were discussing now. Right now, I can't help myself. I got to mention it right now, or probably now. I think it's 8:00 that comes on.
Yeah.
Diane Sawyer on ABC is doing a 2-hour special on they call it Screen Time, and I was talking to George, and George, please,
I saw it. He gave us a link to the promo for this show tonight. I can only say one thing about that promo, and the word that comes to mind is really sensationalism. So my comment about the promo that I saw for that show is this. That's it.
It really was sensationalistic.
Yes.
But the thing is that they do have some good information in there. Like there's going to be some good stuff, but they have to couch it in epic destruction of the way of life that you're used to.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Will, what do you think about the opening line there, especially for Renee's coming out?
You know, they're trying to sell newspapers. That's it. I mean, you know, I like his videos,
what's a newspaper?
Yeah, no, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They want you to read the story.
We'll all be saying that in 10 years. Don't
Yeah.
worry
We
about
didn't,
that.
just like you said, they could have came out with the alternate title, but
Right.
it wouldn't have been as good. So,
But to me, the bottom line to this entire story with New York Times, Apple, and Renee, it's who the heck do you believe here? I'm finding a hard time knowing who to believe here. That's, for me, that was the crux of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to get to that point. To your point, and trying to and I have my ending piece with this, and I want everybody else to jump in agree or disagree
Right.
to my vision here. Adam, why don't you hit the next line then? Let's see.
Next segment.
Next segment, sure.
Vector. They all tell a similar story. They ran apps that helped people limit the time they and their children spent on iPhones. Then Apple created its own screen time tracker, and then Apple made staying in business very, very difficult. Post hoc ergo propter hoc, to stick with the theme. After it, therefore, because of it. It's a classical saying. Well, actually, it's a classical logical fallacy. The Times is putting those two sentences together to avoid actually having to state what they would rather imply. That Apple removed the apps because Apple launched their own version of the apps, Screen Time. If that's true, if the Times has the facts to back that up, an email trail, sources familiar with the matter, anything, why not just say that? If it's not true, why not just say why Apple removed the apps right at the beginning, rather than trying to imply any malice where none really exists? And if the Times really doesn't know, then how about finding out before hitting publish?
Because that's hard to do. That's work. Sorry, that's my reaction to his thing. And he's absolutely right.
And to me, isn't this how the Times reports all the political news too? It's the same crap to me. Same thing they always do. How I look at it.
I mean, right out of the gate, they come out that Times comes out saying that they're that Apple's the bad person.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, because that's gonna sell, but that'll sell the thing. Everybody, every story, Apple's the bad person.
And I was talking about earlier,
that,
like the Amazon. I mentioned about Amazon and their Echoes listening in, and then I mean the comments. And again, here goes the who chimed.
I don't know.
I didn't say the other word.
I don't believe it was me.
That was
could be anything.
Like Facebook.
Both of mine are on silent.
Oh, it could be your phone losing battery.
That's you, Mike.
It's you, Mike. All right, don't worry about it.
No.
We're good? All right, cool. Yay.
You're blowing up over
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
One of those two. Mike's got hidden phones all over.
Yeah, I got phones all over.
Keep track of
it. I actually sent a link to Andrew Wallace. Really cool dude. You know, Andrew,
Fat Produce.
Fat Produce.
How's he doing?
I don't know. I don't want. I'll read the message later. But getting back to my point was that that when I read the comments, of course, again, it's going back to the masses. This is a whole focus that we need to address here. Not us techies, not people who are in this business, people outside of our domain here. Mm-hmm. And I read these comments, and everybody on that comment talked about, I'm never going to have one of those in my homes. I don't use it. I don't want to do that. I don't want to hearing that. This kind of stuff is what then, but you buy it. You will eventually buy it, or right? Somebody gives it to you for Christmas, and sure. Now what do you do? It just becomes
just don't use it.
Just don't use it, right? Yeah. Right. So, but there's there's something at the end of all this I want to drive home. So, as we go through this tonight, folks, parts of my script is I'm taking paragraph per almost paragraph per paragraph, where New York Times says their first paragraph, and I took a paragraph of the Apple's response and compared it to, and see how much variance, how wide the they're on opposite ends of the spectrum.
How wide the chasm is between
the chasm is a good word. Thank you very much. Thank you. You're good. Another one good with words. My brother is excellent with words. You're right up there. So. Comparing Apple's opening lines and paragraphs versus New York Times, I guess I wrote.
You did them backwards, didn't you?
I started noting in here.
Okay.
Apple. Let's see here. Yes. Okay. The first one is going to be the Apple response. Apple paragraph. Apple has always believed that parents should have the tools to manage their children's device usage. It is the reason we created and continue to develop Screen Time. Other apps in the App Store, including Balance, Screen Time by Moment Health, and Verizon Smart Family, give parents the power and power to balance the benefits of technology with other activities that help young minds learn and grow. That's the opening line. That's the opening paragraph from Apple's response. The opening line from basically what Renee read was the opening line.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big difference, and right out of the box that Apple's giving people two other alternatives for an app
screen time.
for screen time,
Right.
other than Apple's own screen time.
Right.
So immediately when they started pulling other things, they gave out two other apps
No.
other than their
Apple's
screen time.
saying that
These two
these
apps,
two
play
apps
fair.
are in there and they do it the right way.
Right.
Verizon has
Oh,
one
alright.
and this other company has one.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
these are two they did not pull.
Yeah.
I got you. If there's other ones you want me to read, I can read them for you.
Well, then
It's up to
everybody's
you.
going to take turns. Yes,
Okay.
because I got to take a sip of coffee and answer Andrew Wallace's
Oh no.
message.
He needs an answer. He can get in his stream.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
Right,
just
there
kidding.
you go, Adam.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
that.
baby. Hey, Jay Santana is saying welcome back, Mike. Where'd you go?
Welcome back to streaming, back to Studio 2.
Welcome back, Cotter.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
that-
Welcome
Go ahead,
back.
Go ahead, play it, Adam.
Okay.
Play that. Yeah.
Oh,
Same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you.
that's a violation.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
All right. I'm under 1,000 subs. That's why I can
Copyright
get away
strike.
with it.
There you
So,
go.
okay?
Copyright strike. That's what I was trying
There you
to think
go.
of.
There you go. Adam, play the next piece.
Play the next piece?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to click on this and hopefully that's it.
Publish. Over the past year, Apple has removed or restricted at least 11 of the 17 most downloaded screen time and parental control apps. Apple has also clamped down on a number of lesser known apps. So I'm left to wonder why.
He's left to wonder why. I got a comment for later on in the thing because we got to get through. Because I also watched this whole thing already.
Oh,
So
well,
I
please
twice.
interject.
I also
Well,
watched it
but
twice.
no, it makes more sense to the listener later after they get a little further into the thing.
Okay. So he's asking why.
Why Apple did
Why
what they
they're-
did.
why they're removing
Why
the
Apple did
apps.
what they did, yeah.
Right. And the next
The next segment.
the next segment here from the New York Times piece says, over the past year, Apple has removed and restricted at least 11. What's wrong?
I was going to read for you. But,
Oh, go ahead. Read.
well,
No, read.
well, but isn't this most of the same
That's
thing
just
that
the
he
same
just
thing
said?
he
But
just said.
What he just said.
but he left out.
Oh, the
but-
New York Times. All right, I'll read.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Over
He
the
left
past
out
year,
part.
Apple has removed or restricted at least 11 of the 17 most downloaded screen time and parental control apps, according to an analysis by the New York Times and Sensor Tower.
Stop for a second. How does the New York Times have an analysis? Do they have a crew that people do this professionally every day? They're actually from this part.
Well, I don't.
I'm asking-
That's probably why they tied in
No,
Sensor Tower.
that's what I
They
was
have
thinking.
investigative journalists and whose job it is, and they probably, if only we knew what Sensor Tower was.
Thank you very much.
Could Sensor Tower be an organic user acquisition service that helps app developers grow their audience by using App Store optimization and app marketplace intelligence? Get insights into the competitive landscape of the free rankings and leaderboard tools, and track your app's performance and rankings with the ASO platform? Is it possible they do that?
Oh, I love it.
Mhm.
I love that.
Uh-huh.
I was on a
Go.
roll, baby.
Yes.
Yes.
So how'd you know all that stuff? Because why? I said, who is Sensor Tower? Who the heck are they? That's what
And
grabbed my eye.
Mike
now.
did some research. Look out.
Yes.
He's turned into Lois Lane over
Yes.
here.
So what's your take? Sensor Tower. Who are these guys? Adam, could you interject? Maybe you understand some of this terminology or no?
Oh, yeah, they seem to they use a lot of big words to say that they try to find out the best ways for you to grow
Get
your
customers,
app
yeah.
and get customers for your app. They give you tips and tricks of, hey, all this stuff over here is working on the internet for these other big things.
Mhm.
So let's go, and if you do that for yours, you'll probably grow too.
So they just work for the app developer.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
of course they're against. You know what I mean? They're gonna side with the
Against
the app
Apple,
developer, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
because that's what they're getting paid to do.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I kind of took away a little bit. That's what I was going with, and were they the ones providing maybe banned information for the app developer to get flagged or get a
But
like
do you
a,
think it was-
like a strike
I
on
think
them?
they were the ones probably going back and telling the apps like, yeah, Apple started removing all these apps. You know what I mean? they weren't. I don't think they were giving them no bad.
I think it
information.
all
I think they were
harkens
just-
to the stuff in your next segment there with the MDM, the mobile device management. I think if we listen to the next one, I think
Well,
you're
okay.
gonna.
Who want George or
But we didn't finish.
Okay, then you want to finish?
Apple has also clamped down on a number of lesser known apps. Period.
Okay,
All right.
but
What's next,
there's
Mike?
the next Apple paragraph.
Full
You wanna
stop
go to
for
Apple's
Nigel.
Next paragraph, Demo. Apple's next paragraph.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay.
We recently removed several parental control apps from the App Store, and we did it for a simple reason. They put users' privacy and security at risk. It's important to understand why and how this happened.
Now, I'm just going to ask. Going back to, I remember there was somebody that was in trouble. It was a terrorist, and they wanted the FBI wanted to get into their phone. So how many years ago was that?
That was
Couple
3 years
2 or
ago.
3
About
years.
3 years ago. So ever since then, they pretty much have
Apple's been
been privacy oriented. And
before
meanwhile,
that, but that kind of pushed
Right.
it out.
well, I'm sorry, Will.
That kind of they were privacy oriented before that, but that kind of let everybody know because they wouldn't
Mhm.
let the
They
FBI
would
get into the
knuckle under
phone.
to the FBI.
And then after that, they put the thing where you can basically lock down your port.
Okay.
I think you hit the power button a couple times, and it disables that port, so you can't even plug nothing into the phone to get
Okay.
data from.
All right. I didn't know that. So,
I didn't know that either.
I apologize, guys. You know, I just realized I should have had here bottles of apple juice.
There you go.
Nice. Well,
Exactly.
you know, also, if you're worried about the FBI getting data off your phone, you could do what many people do and drop it from about 4 inches above your desk, and just the entire thing just won't work anymore. Or just throw it in the toilet and flush it a couple times.
But
Oh, man.
but now what is interesting here is that the focus is on Apple, and I know this conversation is dealing with an Apple on Apple. But what do you think if this roles were reversed
And it's
to
Google?
This
It would be
part of where
different.
we're
If
at
it
with
was-
the story.
If it was Google, it'd be different because Google doesn't have this problem on it. Google pretty much lets anything go.
Yeah. Google doesn't.
Because look at the I was telling you, Mike. There's like apps that you can put on your Android phone that can't even remove them, and I think this is that. What's it called? MDM device
yeah.
manager, or whatever.
Okay,
Yeah.
Where
you
it
can't
like
remove them.
it like you're like the administrator of that phone. Like that device takes over the phone so that you can do what screen time is doing. But Google has a lot of apps that do that.
Mm-hmm. Anybody in the comments? Before we move on?
There's this George Hayes mobile geezer.
That's
Who's he?
true.
Sean's laughing, I believe, at Nigel commenting on Will's shirt. Will's
Yeah,
awesome
see it.
shirt. Talking about shirts, let's check out
Oh,
Mobile
yeah, can we
Geezer's shirt.
yeah.
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah,
Oh, George,
baby.
you got to stand up and turn around.
Yeah, I don't know if you can do
Uh-oh.
that.
I can't stand up in front of that camera because I'm not that short.
Well, here, but
He's
I
like,
go
can
ahead,
give
go
you
ahead.
here. I'm giving you another shot
Oh,
with Mike's
okay.
camera. He's got headphones now and everything. Look,
Yeah,
look at
He's
this
all- he's
live action stuff going on.
All right.
There we go.
Am I good?
Check it out. Yeah, Mobile
Woo,
Geezer,
yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right, nicey nice.
Merch will be in the stores next week, right?
No, I do not have merch. Yeah,
we're gonna
We'll
get him
see.
on. We're gonna get him on Amazon.
yeah. There we go.
Forbes got the hookup.
Yeah.
So it was Forbes' birthday yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday, Forbes.
Yes, Joseph Forbes'
I
birthday.
did say happy birthday on Facebook to Joseph.
So I just was just curious, and that's the other thing that though we have to remember that there is another. What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
That
just having
snicker,
fun.
that snicker drives me nuts only because he's up to
man.
something.
Well, we know he's not texting you
No,
because
no,
normally
no.
he does that.
Yeah. What's up?
Oh, God. No,
Is
no,
it about
no.
boxing?
No.
Nah.
Six is crazy.
All right,
Okay.
are we ready for the next segment?
Where are we? Yeah.
Okay. Now, but yes, go ahead,
Hit it.
hit it.
Now, if
Oh.
you've been covering the App Store for a while, and I have, you hear this a lot. Sometimes it's absolutely true. Apple acts to the perception of everyone outside in a way that can only be called opaque and capricious. And when Apple does that, it's legit terrible for everyone, especially the developer and the customers, but also for Apple and its reputation. But sometimes it's not true, and the developer knows exactly what the problem is, but denies it and instead goes to the media as a way of trying to change perception and pressure Apple to change their decision. Sometimes that works, at least the first part, often for privacy reasons, but also because Apple believes it is a giant tech company and it's unbecoming to punch down at smaller entities. So instead, they've taken to biting their tongues, taking it on the chin, and just moving on, even when a day or a week later, it's come out that the developer knew what they were doing all along, and it was bad. Instead of helping us figure this particular case out though, the Times slams straight into this.
So this is another reason why there wouldn't have been this video if it was Google, because my boy Renee is obviously an Apple fanboy.
Exactly.
yeah.
It has been for a long time. Now, one thing I have
But that's fine to be an Apple
one
fanboy.
thing I have a problem with trying to visualize. He did say sometimes Apple takes it on the chin. I cannot possibly look at Apple as taking it on the chin. I'm sorry.
Nah, but
Well, but
like, what he's saying is the developers acting like they weren't aware that their apps were about to get taken down. So, which has to be not true, because how can some companies have fixed the problem and stayed in the App Store, and these ones just they didn't.
Yeah.
So they had to have a memo come out. Or something.
And
they
that's
did mentions later on.
And that's explained later. That's
Yeah.
true.
Later
Yeah.
on. But the focus here is, or what one thing that spun in my head, Adam, do me a favor. Can you play that segment one more time?
The whole segment?
I might tell you to stop.
All right.
185.
Now, if you've been covering the App Store for a while, and I have, you hear this a lot. Sometimes it's absolutely true. Apple acts to the perception of everyone outside in a way that can only be called opaque and capricious. And when Apple does that, it's legit terrible for everyone, especially the developer and the customers, but also for Apple and its reputation. But sometimes it's not true, and the developer knows exactly what the problem is, but denies it and instead goes to the media as a way of trying to change perception and pressure Apple to change.
Okay. I wrote a thing here, and I know it might be seen, it might appear to be off track, but just stick with me on this. Here's where the doom and gloom, or the perception of doom.
Oh God!
Yeah, I'm like,
what happened? Oh, technical problems.
Maybe I was wrong about support on Android phones. Well, malware and other security issues was found in Android phones a few years ago. Google seemed to enact a every month security patch fix for their branded devices. As for the OEs, well, it happens whenever they damn well feel like it. Referring to patch updates, is update every month a marketing ploy, or are the apps the real issue here? That's where I was going with that, the perception. And on top of that, let me just step back up for a second. When I had my Nexus devices, and early on getting into this, I remember it was the big. I cannot for the life of me. I don't remember the
stage fright.
Stage fright.
Oh yeah.
You know I'm talking.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was. Stage fright came out. And everybody in the Android world, and all us guys, kind of were like losing our minds. And all, if I'm correct, Will, please. I never heard of once a month Android updates until that came out.
Yeah,
That kind of sent.
I think that started it.
Yeah, that
Right.
kind of
Something
sent
like
the companies into a big panic. But I'll never forget Jerry Hildebrand, Android Central, really knowledgeable. 6 months into the whole stage fright thing, he said,
Yeah, one person that had
who actually got hurt from. So that to me was another case of they've built this up in the media, but actually had a problem with it. Nobody that anybody could find.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
that seemed to be 6 months of sensationalism.
Right, and that's what I was getting at. Is
Exactly.
to again the key word I heard in 2 times is the perception.
Right,
Right.
and that's what.
That's what I'm getting at. Okay, and again, it goes back. This question goes back to if this was a Google thing,
Uh-oh.
There we go. We just did a drop test.
Yeah, I
We
dropped
did
my
a drop test.
iPhone 10 off.
Uh,
All
uh,
is well. We're
uh,
still alive.
No
All right,
screen
cool.
protector, and
Get
it
the
held
FBI here.
was
3
that about
feet.
3 feet on
and
a.
I don't use screen protectors.
Yeah, right. Okay, so wow, this is a loaded show. We did a
We
drop
got
test,
everything in
a
here.
birthday.
There you go.
Okay,
Let's do some benchmarks. Let's see how we can run.
I like
how
little
quick we can run
six
video.
Louis.
I don't do bench presses anymore. Sorry.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, it just what that was the thing I kind of like drew to. So all these problems we're having really isn't the software. The I call the cornerstone of the software of the phone. It's the apps that we go put on there.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay? We go put on there.
Yeah.
And then it goes back then to again the masses going and like, oh, this has got 4.5 stars. This is a great app. And go and find out that that those 4.5 stars are not genuine. They're
Exactly.
okay?
Anybody can give an app 4.5 stars, including all their employees.
Right, so they can. Okay, we already have clickbait farms or
Right.
click farms. Okay, so there's already been, and there was already a case with Google. We were talking about a few weeks ago where Google got found an app that
And removed
removed it because
subs.
it was just kept on. Was it adding?
click some kind of like an ad
Yeah, but
subs.
then they would run the ads, and in turn they got paid for it.
Right.
So
it was just like back in the day when they had the apps that would do the Bitcoin mining.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I love those.
all right.
That's just straight up money.
Yeah. Okay. So really, the problem we need to focus here is on the app and finding out, is it really a good app, and is it okay? This is where there's not enough education to the masses. Am I right in saying that?
That's true. But
Or-
when you say we need to find out, is it a good app? We meaning us techies or the general public?
Both.
I'll go with both, but mostly us techies.
Okay, because I agree with that, because it's going to require some research and digging and
Sounds like
general
Will needs
public-
to put out another video.
yeah, there you go.
Research,
go.
research all
I
electronics.
think
Will.
you
because
all
the
want to handle
general public's not
all the
gonna do
apps
that.
right now.
No.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
the general public. Yeah, someone mentioned it in the room. I'm sorry, I forget who, but that you can't trust the media and you have to do your own
JQ.
research.
That's
Yeah,
right. You said
JQ.
that way back. Yeah.
And that's 100% true, but it's not. It's the media's job to do that, to be unbiased, and that has gone away ever since they introduced money into news.
Yeah.
Right. But consumer.
Adam, what was 245 is the ending, right? On that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Stand by.
we got a problem.
We had a minor blip. Hey, Fat Produce is here.
Yes,
All
it is.
right.
Maybe that's why we had a blip.
Ooh.
Well,
Yeah,
Fat
sorry.
Pro-
OBS did something.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, we're clapping again.
Yeah, because
This weird
yes,
clapping thing.
Andrew Wallace is in the room, and Andrew, you got to go back and see some of the what we've leading up to so far.
No,
I know-
not right now though.
No,
'cause
stay
you're
here.
now.
Stay here, because we're talking about Apple and apps and how the perception, how, oh my God, doom and gloom that the press puts out and all that stuff. So
How the press can make a company look bad
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
not.
yes, yeah, is it truth or is it or not?
All right, yeah. So that one was ending at 2:45.
Right.
Are we doing the next one?
No, I would like Will and George.
Uh-oh,
Will
uh-oh.
do the New York Times section.
Oh, hold on.
And then-
Let me go back. Where we at, Mike?
We're in Glassboro, New Jersey, in Adams,
okay, I got it. I
in
got
Studio
you.
2.
He's there.
Right there,
Okay.
where it says Will, right,
Yeah.
George? All right. Tammy Levine, an Apple spokeswoman, said Apple removed or
Wait a
required.
minute.
Well, no, yeah, it's the one the set above that.
Oh,
That's going to be the
Oh, okay.
the
It
next
says
one.
New York
The
Times.
screen time app makers
There we go.
are the latest companies to suddenly find themselves both competing against Apple and at the mercy of tech titan. By controlling the iPhone App Store, where companies find some of the most lucrative customers, Apple has unusual power over the fortunes of other corporations.
I want to just quickly, for people who just came in the room,
Oh, that's
like
nonsense.
Andrew Wallace.
Nonsense,
we're-
George.
I'm breaking down a news piece from New York Times, basically explaining or the news pieces covering iPhone apps that were removed, that were dealing with screen time and
and basically criticizing Apple for removing it.
removing them. Yes. So I'm what I'm doing here is I'm taking paragraph by paragraph, comparing the two paragraphs as Apple presented it in a rebuttal to New York Times, and I'm just kind of going tit for tat just to see.
So Will just read the New York Times view of things.
Right. Now, George, you hit the Apple one.
Okay. Now here's Apple's response. Over the last year, we became aware that several of these parental control apps were using a highly invasive technology called mobile device management, or MDM. MDM gives a third-party control and access over a device and its most sensitive information, including user location, app use, email accounts, camera permissions, and browsing history. We started exploring this use of MDM by non-enterprise developers back in early 2017, and updated our guidelines based on that work in mid-2018. Now that's Apple's response.
Excuse me. Altertech is in. He says, "Yes, we're really all in the same room."
Yes, Rishi, we are here, brother.
It's not a camera trick.
We are really here.
He poked
Okay.
him.
So
Where's that boxing glove at?
There you go.
So George, what's your takeaway on that? Versus the Times piece.
Yeah, the Times, that one paragraph that Will just read, they really make it seem like Apple's the bad guy here and they're just taking away people's business and blah, blah, blah. And Apple said because these people are using mobile device management that gives people control of a device, I guess it means anybody's device that has this app on it, they started updating their guidelines based on you using any app maker using this MDM app, and they don't want app makers on the Apple Store having access with that MDM because they can get into people's phones and get their information. And look what it says about information. Email accounts, camera permissions, and browsing history. So there's a lot of information that they can snatch. Apple's saying, well, we can't allow that. I have to agree with them there.
Yeah.
I was going to say, now I know you two, you in the field that you're sort of working. I don't know.
Computers?
Do you understand some of this stuff you might? And it seemed like you got a comment, please.
No, because they're just trying to, the New York Times is trying to make it seem like Apple is trying to stop the competition. You know what I mean? Because they have their app, but that's not what it is. It's just,
and you made that point earlier.
They're trying
to, the way you said it earlier.
Apple
that almost started a rant.
Apple has Spotify. They have Spotify. They have Google Music. You know what I mean? They're not removing these apps. They're not charging you for screen time.
Exactly.
You might get a screen time app on the App Store that you might have to pay for it, and Apple is going to get money from that. So why would they remove it? You know what I mean?
Right.
Unless it's just privacy. That's too much information for an app that's just controlling your screen time to have. That's crazy.
So I believe that, yes, it is good to have this stuff removed, but the problem lies in the fact that Apple's a little bit snotty. And they're
very much the problem. I agree.
They're going to do it their way. And if that inconveniences people, they don't care. If that knocks companies about that their whole their main program was set up this way to be able to do this, they don't care. You'll work around it. We'll give you the tools later on once we have the tools all figured out the right way. We'll give you a way to do it, but you're going to be hosed for a couple months until we figure it out.
But you know what's ironic about what you said?
It's Apple's App Store.
Right, but
That's
you know
just
what's
like
ironic
Spotify
about what you said, Adam?
What?
Apple is kind of snooty and snotty about it. And look who's writing about it. Probably the most snooty, snotty paper in the USA. I mean, come on now.
I mean, to me, they're allowed, though. That's like when Spotify was complaining. How can you complain? It's Apple's App Store. They're maintaining the store.
Spotify was just complaining that Apple was taking too much of a cut. But that's different than this.
To me, it's kind of the same.
Yeah,
they're complaining because of the way Apple's choosing to do it. But you know what I mean? Plain and simple, your app is asking for too much information.
Right, and that's much more serious than taking too much money from Spotify, in my opinion.
You know.
Yeah, but I mean, this isn't something like they didn't just start doing it. now it would be different if the app, to me, in my personal opinion, it would be different if the apps like it came out and they didn't have this MDM control,
Right.
and then all of a sudden they like slipped it in an update, and Apple was like, oh, by golly, you got that one past us, so now we have to punish you and change everything
not
about
how
the
it
way it is. That it was there all the time.
Yeah.
And at one point Apple was like, all right, that's fine. And yes, 100% Apple's allowed to do whatever they want with their own app store. But it's just like how you have the bosses that are jerks about being the boss. The Apple is the boss of these independent app developers
Right.
by what they're doing, and they're throwing their weight around. And
So you're saying since that's MDM has been in there all the
He's saying they
time,
shouldn't.
Apple should have complained about it up front or not allowed it in the first place?
well, that's true, but also once they figured out that, oh, this is a bad thing, they could have worked better with the app developer.
Well, there's more
But didn't
coming
they?
about
Yeah,
But
that.
that's what
right.
I'm saying.
But-
Didn't they? I'm sure they, just like I said before, if the other people were able to fix the problem and stay in the store,
But
I'm
they-
sure
But
everybody.
the
More
ones
in
who
the
fixed the
story
problem
coming.
felt that their app was gutted. And
Yeah,
and-
the ones that fixed it, they've lost
they
tons
lost
of
a lot
functionality
stuff that they were
Exactly.
doing.
because
Yeah,
Apple hasn't provided an API yet.
their-
a way, yeah. So
but that's the thing people complain about, because Apple's app doesn't allow you to do all of that. But if you allow the functionality that they're asking for, that's a lot of permissions, and you know what I mean. That's
That's
crazy.
your security
That's
is
too
blown.
much.
You're
Yeah,
saying.
like
Yeah.
that's like being at a business where they control your phone.
yeah, I would imagine it would be similar to like beer companies when Prohibition was started. It was like, well, wait a minute, all this was fine, and now it's not. What
Yeah.
what am I gonna do? I
You-
got all these employees.
You
and-
do probably realize that some people watching have no idea what prohibition means, don't you?
Really?
I guess.
You're that was your backhanded way of calling me old.
No, because I'm old enough to be your father and then some, so I don't think I can afford to call you old.
Yeah, but you embraced your oldness.
yeah.
That's true.
I actually don't have a problem with it. Hey, Mark and Catherine.
I don't know, Mike.
Well, now let's change it up now. Again, let's throw in Google. And then let's say that was Google's statement. Does Google have, first off, I guess all apps have MDM, right?
No.
No.
because-
These developers are sticking
Look.
MDM in there, so no, not all apps are going to have MDM.
Okay.
The ones that people like, if you have a company phone or a company computer, those have
Mhm.
the thing, and I think that's what, as one of the parts in the thing or in the story.
Yeah, it's in
he
the
was
story.
like, those are allowed to do it because that's a company, but to have your personal phone be able to be giving out that much information or be open that much is crazy.
And,
That's
and
crazy.
even with the company
Even they were
doing
saying-
it later on, they have a problem with that
Now
too.
think about it, Mike. If Liam had that on his, you know what I mean, on his phone, and all your that's crazy to be able to do that with kids. Apple's saying that. You gotta, once Apple comes out with their API or whatever, then they'll release it. Everybody can win an update. I just think they're whining because they don't want to have their app gutted.
No, they're
Because-
whining because they're losing
because-
money at the
No,
moment.
but because look, all right, if they're saying that guts my app, right?
Right.
Now, if your app is gutted, everybody's app is on the same playing field, right? Everybody's app is gutted then. So you know what I mean? Now it's up to you. You gotta advertise your app.
If they
or
gutted all the apps, yes.
everybody, so it's not like somebody else's app has that feature or has, you know,
yeah.
you're all on the same, you know, Apple's app isn't doing it. So theirs is
but
no
the
more.
big complaint is not that everybody's app is gutted. The big complaint is while the app is gutted, we have just losing money day by day by day by day by day. And they're
Well,
certainly
that's
right
not-
about that.
That's, well, they got to come up with a different way to market their app. then.
Well, so basically what they're saying is because of this, we're losing money every day, and Apple is the one who made us lose money every day, and they're kind of right about that. But Apple's coming back, but you're using MDM, messing
Yeah.
with people's privacy, so we can't let you
we
make
can't
money
let you
that
do
way.
that. So you just got to lose money. But
Exactly.
everybody's on the same playing field. If everybody's app is gutted, it's all right. If it was just a couple companies who couldn't do, you know what I mean? But if
Yeah.
everybody's gutted, then when they release their API, everybody will see whose app
Now,
people
the
buys.
conversation you guys just had here, this is not being explained to the people.
Explain to the people, Mike.
Well, isn't that what we're doing here?
What?
That's what we're doing all
Well, it's not-
Yeah,
it's
we
not
don't
something-
need ABC.
Oh, okay,
you got
you
all
mean-
the news right
That's
here.
right.
You mean,
But
okay.
but this is what I'm my
we need DEF.
what I'm saying is
They're not
um,
explaining it this deep, but yeah.
right, and we don't need to go that deep. But yet, though, too,
Oh, it's too late.
yeah. but again, the way the article is written,
Right.
isn't going into it.
it isn't going into that.
Because nobody wants to read all that. All they want to read about is
Hey,
Apple took the apps away and killed
Just
the apps.
what
and
the
Apple's
show
bad.
prep
That's
you
it.
gave us, it took me over an hour to get through all this.
That's all.
Okay.
You got to really research to
Yeah.
find out.
Yeah, right. And yes, I don't expect people to be able to pick up their phone and say, "Oh, let me research this app." But there's got to be some form of something that people can get truth in what they're about to purchase.
I don't
If
think,
there
I don't
is-
think that's going to
That
happen.
way,
Yeah, but
I'll
then
go
you gotta
forward.
go
No,
to
not now. I'm
But
saying.
then if you go to YouTube,
Hey,
and
maybe
watch
there's an
Renee
opportunity, George. Maybe there's a financial
Uh,
opportunity here. You know what I mean?
Go to
I'll
Renee Ritchie
check,
and watch
you know
his
what I mean?
video.
Who?
Renee Ritchie's video explains it a little
Yes,
better,
explains
but he
it
still
a bit
doesn't.
better.
He didn't. You know what I mean? He doesn't still come out and say all the apps are on a level playing field.
Right.
They're
Do you
just
feel-
trying to make it look
you-
like
you-
Apple's the bad guy,
Okay.
and
That's
these
what New
little
York
companies
Times
are
is
going out
doing,
of
yes.
business. Or
But
whatever.
yet, though, too, you still feel that his Apple sheepness is a little bit more, just a tick.
More in
I-
Slide.
pro, pro Apple.
because
No, for Apple.
Uh-oh.
because at the end of the video,
Here it
he
comes.
still comes and he goes against what he thinks Apple did wrong. At the end of the video, if you keep watching it, he does go against. You know what I mean?
Andrew Stud's in the room. He says, "Notch life." But I hate to break it to you, Android, Leo.
Leo.
We're talking about Apple stuff. A little bit of
I don't
Google,
know.
but
I
I'm
don't
sorry
know.
to break it
I
to
don't
you.
know. I don't
Go
think he's being biased in his
Mhm.
thing because at the end he does
Except-
come around.
Except if you watch him regularly,
yeah,
you
yeah, but-
know he's
no,
a big
no,
Apple
no, no, no,
fanboy,
but-
just like
but-
I'm a big Google
Nah, listen,
fanboy.
but he at the end of this video he calls him out and says they could have did this different, this different. I
He
forget what
did say
said.
that at the end.
So you know what I mean? He's not like elusive tech. And even he
Sure.
called him out today about
That's
the
true.
keyboards or something. But
He called him out on the keyboards.
yeah,
Yeah, he did make a video, but I
Keyboards.
didn't see it yet.
yeah. he
Whose
has the
keyboards? Oh, the
MacBook
Apple.
Pro keyboard.
Yeah.
Well, Adam,
I
what's the
think
next?
if it was Google, Mike, it would be. I don't even think it would be an issue if it.
I don't think so.
Because
So-
this is because
so why
because
is
look,
it not an issue? That's a good
because-
question then.
Because Google isn't known for privacy. The Google store has everything on it. You know what I mean? You can get everything.
And
you
I
can
agree with Will
do all
that
kind of stuff with your
Google
phone
might
on
do
there.
something like Apple
And
did.
this is a Google fanboy talking, folks.
Right, that's
Uh-oh.
true. Google might do something like Apple did only if they started getting complaints from users.
Yeah,
But other than that, I don't think
I remember when they pulled Tasker, everybody went crazy when
That's
they pulled
right.
that out the App Store. But see, on
But why
Android,
they pull Tasker?
it was something like this, right? It was like it was violating
was it a
something, but
violation?
you
I
can
don't
go
remember
you can go
anymore.
download it from anywhere. Like on Android, it's different. Apple doesn't let you. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's
now
the
that
thing.
this
You
app
can
is
side.
gone,
Well, yeah,
you can't go get it from somewhere else and put
right.
it just gone.
And if you really want to put something on an Android phone, you can side load anything you want. Well, you
Right,
can't do that
right.
with an Apple phone.
And the
Right.
developers on Android, they don't really complain, I don't think, because because they know their app is gonna get side loaded and people ain't gonna pay for it. It's different on Android.
Very different.
Next segment?
Yeah, go ahead, play- even though I said just in case, let's do it.
Right into this. The screen time app makers are the latest companies to suddenly find themselves both competing against Apple and at the mercy of the tech titan. By controlling the iPhone App Store, where companies find some of their most lucrative customers, Apple has unusual power over the fortunes of other corporations. Now, there's a legitimate discussion to be made about platforms and app stores, and I had Nilay Patel of The Verge on with me a few weeks ago to do just that. It's a potentially bigger discussion, one that goes to the heart of many modern economies, similar to Amazon or Walmart having house brands and wielding unusual power over the fortunes of its suppliers. But this particular piece doesn't seem interested in any of that because, I don't know, not fuddy enough? The Times does include a brief statement from App Store PR's Tammy Levine, which says, Apple removed or required changes to the apps because they could gain too much information from users' devices. She said the timing of Apple's moves was not related to its introduction of similar tools. Then, and this bit is particularly fascinating, in response to this article, Philip W. Schiller, Apple's Senior Vice President of Worldwide Marketing, said in emails to some customers that Apple acted extremely responsibly in this matter, helping to protect our children from technologies that could be used to violate their privacy and security. Fascinating, because it still leaves out something really, really important from Schiller's email. Unfortunately, the New York Times article you referenced did not share our complete statement, nor explain the risks to children had Apple not acted on their behalf. Now,
Okay. Now, I know I had that part saved for what Renee read for Will, but
Yeah, but I don't think we need to restate that because
no, I know. But the part in there that Apple's continuation of MDM goes into that. So, how does that play out? What he was referring to? How? I mean, what do you think? What he was thinking?
The New York Times was picking and choosing
what
what
to put in
there
from
What
the
to
email.
put in.
They didn't put the whole
Again, sensationalism.
You're hiding
Sensational,
information. Yeah.
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'm
Because they
just
don't
saying.
want it to seem. They want their narrative to be Apple's the bad guy because
Right.
everybody's going to read it.
So
they don't
they
want to
took
read
the
it.
guy's email and said,
cut it out.
okay, this sentence keeps Apple a
Mhm.
bad guy. This sentence
Mhm.
doesn't keep Apple a bad guy. Let's pull that one.
Mhm.
This sentence
But-
does.
but-
Let's put that one.
Right. So, I was going to say it's almost like I was going to talk about the fold, but what I'm
What?
saying is though everybody makes it horrible. What happens if all this going on with the fold, and Samsung figures it out and comes out, and what happens if it's the next best thing to?
They're not going to.
But
They-
keep it
it's too
related to
many
where we
it's
are.
too
Yeah,
many
I know, but I'm just
compromises
saying
with
is
that
the
phone.
stories I'm talking about. I already saw stories about the Samsung Fold being a disaster on TV.
Yeah, but there's a big difference here. The New York Times is making Apple the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
With the Fold, every
Samsung did it.
single big YouTuber and blogger said the same thing.
Right.
This is a problem, but this is still a cool device.
Okay.
This is still a good device. This will still
But
make
not,
you
not
want.
what I saw.
Now,
Not
I-
all. Not what I
Every
saw.
single big YouTuber I've saw
They all talked about how
all
great it was.
said the same thing
Mm-hmm.
after they told you about all the problems it had. They all want that device,
They all want that.
with no
right.
exceptions.
Right. So I yes,
Except,
they
for the
pick
one
and choose.
except for the one I showed George. We'll
What-
talk about it next week.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I like
Ooh,
that.
preview for next week.
We'll talk about it next week.
George, pick up the one I said I highlighted for you to read.
I don't
This is
even know
Apple's
where I am
response.
anymore.
Want me to read it real quick for you?
Oh, okay, I got it.
You got it? All right.
Okay. Read this paragraph. Okay.
No.
Sorry. MDM does have legitimate usage. Now, that's the the invasion part of the app that we were talking about. Does have legitimate uses. Businesses will sometimes install MDM on enterprise devices to keep better control over proprietary data and hardware, but it is incredibly risky and a clear violation of App Store policy for a private consumer-focused app consumer-focused app businesses to install MDM control over a customer's device. Beyond the control that the app itself can exert over the user's device, research has shown that MDM profiles could be used by hackers to gain access to malicious purposes. They're saying, okay, it's one thing for a business to use this MDM to have it on employees' devices. It's a totally different thing for an app to be doing this to private consumers. I don't think it's okay either way. That's just
So,
I do.
so you
I
don't,
don't.
you don't like
if
MDM.
A company, if a
I
company,
don't think MDM has the right to be digging into this stuff. And they have
Will
some
shaking
right.
his head no.
I don't think they have the right to be digging into every employee's stuff, even if that phone belongs to the company. No, I do not.
Yeah, but George, if it's a company phone,
I still
that
don't
phone,
think
listen,
so.
Adam, he's banging
George,
on the table.
that phone is only supposed to be used for at work.
He's allowed
So
to
there's
bang.
nothing on.
Banging's
You
okay.
shouldn't have no pictures on it. You shouldn't have no
I
private
still
emails.
think you can
Everything-
probably have something on that phone
everything
that
should be-
still has to do with business, and the company has no business ripping it
Nah,
from that
it
phone.
shouldn't.
If they gave it to you as for private use.
But
and-
it's not
and-
for private use. It's for
and-
company use.
Wait. Have you had a phone from a handed
No,
to you to be?
no.
I have, and I know lots of,
Mm.
and just about every company, and I'm talking about huge companies, Blue Cross, Paine Weber. They give this phone to you. Well, they don't restrict it. Just strictly, you can do private stuff on it, and it's okay.
Mhm.
But that's at your own
Probably
risk.
spelled out in the policies.
But that's at your own risk. If they might be.
I just
You have a company. You don't have a company phone.
No, no,
Okay.
but Google Suite seems to be very,
Restricted, right?
yeah.
They're gonna.
Google
I'm
Suite
sure
has this MDM stuff.
I'm
that,
sure the
Right, I had that
companies
feeling
watching-
after I read now. I'm going, that sounds like MDM in my Google Suite
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
When I load my account, my work account on my work phone, and right now I'm in the middle of finishing a review on the phone. That's the only thing I had in there was my work account. I'm
Okay.
using this phone for work,
Right.
and the only way to get the full, on one phone I did. One time I did work and personal, and I was able to get everything that the Google Play and the Google services fully. Right now, if you go to that phone, you swipe over where the Google Now would be, it's blank.
Just don't let you put it.
Right. It don't. Right. And then there's certain things that don't work properly in the Google Suite, and I think that's how they have it set up by the administrator.
Okay.
All right. So we're just saying he doesn't think they should be able to do. What do you think?
I don't think they should be able to do some of it.
Yeah,
And
but
some yes and some no.
But George, like, all right, if I'm at a job and I know this phone is for work, they're giving me the phone so that I don't have to get calls.
Depends on the
for work,
procedures and
on
policies. If it's
personal-
spelled out in the procedures and policies, fine. But most
Yeah,
companies
so-
that I know, if they're gonna let you have some private stuff in there, it's probably in the
I wouldn't
procedures
want
and
nothing
policies.
private on my work phone.
Did-
It's
did
a
you-
work phone? You don't own it.
George,
That's
when you were
true.
getting work phones, were they smartphones?
Yes.
Okay.
What was your last work phone?
Even in
So it was early generation stuff too.
no, what couldn't have been.
Yeah.
It's 5, 6, 7 years
Yeah,
a while
okay,
ago.
but I'm saying it's much older phone.
Yes.
So, but that stuff.
And
it
NDM
was
probably didn't
probably
exist.
different,
then,
right? That's why I was
you,
going.
You're making a good point. Okay,
Yeah, right,
well,
right.
Now you got your point.
Hey, all right.
All right.
All right.
But this MDM stuff is really really dangerous stuff to me. To me, if I'm reading this right,
It
though,
sounds
too.
like it's dangerous if it's being used on the general.
I think it
agree.
depends on it depends on the company, but you never know.
But it
Somebody-
says
And
here the
depends
last
on
line.
the amount of malice that the app maker has in them
Right.
and in their company.
Research shows that MDM profiles could be used by hacker.
Could be.
Right. Well,
But that
but
that
They're
they
taking away the
acknowledge there's a
potential.
hacker
yeah,
that
that
could
could
do
be
it.
and that could be very much like stage fright because it had all kinds of potential, but seemed like it didn't
No,
happen to
right.
anybody.
But you know what? But I think that's different because all right, I'm not sure, but I understand everybody's who gets these other apps, right? For the
the ones that
Apple.
were pulled.
Yeah,
Right.
they'll say, all right, if Mike had Android and
Mm-hmm.
Adam had Apple, he would be able to limit the Android phone, right? Because
would
that's Mike would be able to use it across platform and limit the Android phone.
Okay.
Like screen time, you can't do that. It's only you can't even control. I don't think somebody else's iPad or whatever.
Okay.
So, from what I understand, and another thing that they're saying is, if he had it on Adam's phone, he would be able to access his phone, right?
Sure, sounds
To
like
see
it.
all, yeah. So
At least to see some of his stuff. Yes.
So, if you put that, like they were saying, on a kid's phone or on, you know what I mean?
oh yeah,
You can.
yeah.
That's, it is
Yeah,
dangerous.
and if they,
shouldn't-
and the
they
hackers
shouldn't-
could get it, but then you could start doing all kinds of porn crap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they-
so,
they-
yeah, it's
yeah,
pretty
they should-
dangerous. Yes.
Yeah, to me, it's different than stage fright. This is more something that I could see people abusing. and
Okay.
advantage of
And doing
the
something
stuff
really
that it allows
evil
you to
with
do
it. Yeah,
in,
you're right.
in the phone or app.
Yeah.
So-
It's crazy.
All right, you opened this can of worms. Keep it going.
I will. I am. I'm about to say, Adam, hit the next line.
All right, bring it.
It's also a better approach, at least as far as I'm concerned, than the past, where Apple might just answer a few questions on background and the whole thing would remain murky for days and weeks. Better still, which has happened a few times, but again, as far as I'm concerned, should happen every time, would be Apple proactively reaching out in advance of removing any significant set or type of apps and providing a clear reason as to why, so that everyone knows what's happening up front, and any outlets that want to investigate and fact check can do so and include their results as part of their coverage. That way, forget Apple or the Times, the readers and customers are the real winners. Apple
There's a problem with what he just said.
Uh-oh.
Please.
He said he believes Apple should proactively be reaching out to these app developers and explaining just what the problem is. Yeah, and we have examples further on in this story. Let's say Apple finds, okay, we got this MDM thing in here. Better send this guy to do it. Now they've got to wait for this guy to respond. Now they have proactively reached out. But meanwhile, what they consider that very dangerous thing inside that app is running on an Apple phone. They should not proactively reach out and explain. First, they should stop the app. If they really believe it's that bad, then they should.
So it just immediately shut down.
If I am running
I'm
running a company and I say this is a really bad app towards security and it's hitting my customers, I'm going to stop it the second I find out. I'm not going to wait till somebody responds to me 3 or 4 times in email.
I'm gonna give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
Samsung's S7 was exploding. People wasn't sending them back. They told you your phone's gonna explode. People were still holding on to them.
They refused to send them back.
Refusing. Look how long it took. They don't even think they probably didn't even get them all.
It took them a year and a half to get the
They had
ones
to
they did
release
get.
software to make the phone turn off.
Right.
So if the phone exploded, people would have been like, Samsung let my phone explode.
Right.
Same thing with the app. If Apple's, like he said, reaching out to a company, then you gotta wait.
Yeah,
then you gotta who has time for
exchange
that?
information.
In the meantime,
but
all the
meanwhile,
bad
this
press is
dangerous
coming down on Apple.
Right, it's on your customers and being used, and who knows?
So Apple's in the wrong here.
No, Apple's
they're
in the right here.
He's
In the
saying
right, but-
they should
but I'm
shut
sorry.
it down.
That Apple should shut it down.
He's
Right,
saying they should shut it
immediately.
down right away.
But that's
and
what I'm
the
saying.
company
Apple's
can-
in the wrong. They should have in the wrong, as in should have taken
no.
immediate
He's saying
action.
he's saying the way Renee
he's
Ritchie
saying,
is
but
saying.
I'm saying what he's saying.
Yeah.
What I'm saying.
Lots
what-
of he's going on.
Yeah, George is saying that
There we
Apple
go.
should have
Shut it down.
shut it down right
like
away.
they did. He's
Well,
Renee
they
Ritchie.
No, they
really
did
not
it.
right
They did
away.
it.
Not right away.
No,
but-
I say right away.
no.
Right.
I'm saying they didn't shut it down right away.
Right.
But Renee Ritchie's saying they should have waited longer and gave them more time.
And he's saying Apple was in the wrong for not shutting
Right
it down
away.
immediately.
Immediately. Right.
Yes.
Right. So New York Times got a part of the story right. They should have done something
I
better.
agree.
No.
I agree.
But which phone was blowing up, Will?
The Note 7.
Note 7.
Mhm.
Okay, you must have misspoke or something.
Oh.
Nigel's
7.
calling us on it.
Don't,
It's
don't
all
give
good.
me notes.
That's
Yeah.
so Nigel. Picky.
Yeah,
Still
what?
love you,
He's supposed to
Nigel.
use the right words.
So is there any more that I have? Any more? Oh, I got the
Yeah,
last
there's one
one.
more.
Okay.
You got more.
So no, I know. Now it goes into. This is where I feel YouTube. I'm throwing this in there. YouTube and this Apple should have done something to work. Shut it down. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Okay.
But it goes on. The story goes on here. On January 19th, Mr. Sharam. Oh, that's another hard word. How you say it, Ann?
Rochambeau.
Rochambeau. Is it really?
Ramasboo. No, Ramasboo.
Now, Ramasboo received a message from Apple that he had 30 days to change the Mob Chip app.
Mobisip, I would.
Mobisip app, or it would be removed from the App Store. If you have any questions about information, please reply to this message and let us know. The note said, "Best regards, App Store review." Over 27 days, Mr. R responded 4 times seeking information. He eventually resubmitted the app with the changes and hoped it would satisfy
The
Apple's.
changes he hoped.
Right, he hoped it satisfied their demands. When
Mobisips.
deadline Just days away, Apple responded 3 times to his earlier detailed questions with virtually the same message. Your app uses public APIs in an unapproved manner, which does not comply with the guidelines 2.5.1 of the App Store Review Guidelines. We hear you loud and clear, Mr. R responded in the morning of February 19th. Apple's deadline. He begged for an answer. Apple tells him that he needed to
Apple tell him?
Could have Apple tell him what he needed to keep his app up and going on the iPhone.
Okay, so you see my point?
Mm-hmm.
Apple discovers this particular app with this guy. They immediately contacted him or sent him. They gave him 30 days. This app was that bad. Why are they exposing their customers to 30 more days of this? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. They should have shut it down right there and then responded, let the guy have his 30 days.
Does a financial factor come to play here for Apple?
For Apple?
It depends on if the app's for sale. Some of these apps are free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But either way, if they're so big on security, they should have shut that thing down immediately.
Maybe.
And went from there.
Those apps for free usually come with ads.
Yeah.
So there's still money being made.
Right. But either way, are they more concerned about the security like they say,
you
or
know
are they
what?
more concerned about the money?
What George is saying is worse. Not worse, but just imagine if Apple just shut the app down.
Yeah, it's
right
worse than what
away.
they did, yes.
Imagine the backlash they would have got then.
Right, yeah, because
People
what
would have
I'm
been
saying
like,
is
they didn't even give us a
worse than
minute.
what actually Apple did, what
Yeah.
the New York Times is accusing them of. But I'm saying if you're all that serious, that's the only way to go. You find the problem and it's affecting your customers, then shut it down right
But
this
you know
minute.
what? They probably have it in their agreement somewhere where they have to give them
30
notice
days.
or yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. Is there a way that Apple can tell how Mr. Rochambeau was using the MDM in there? Like,
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I would seriously,
there's-
because if he's using that MDM, he's pulling that data to his app. Apple has no right to
Yeah.
go in there and look and see what he's doing with the stuff on his server now, because he's already got the
Mhm.
data. They can't go down
well,
in there. and
but
just
does he
revise it.
automatically pull and get all the data?
Well, I don't know.
Or,
But
yeah,
he-
see, that's the
he's
thing.
not-
Like maybe
he
they can.
He obviously
get
has the opportunity to pull some of the data, and whatever data he did pull, they can't go in there and just take it away from him. It's his now.
Yes, yes, they can't go in his server, but maybe they could see that he's only pulling things that he really
Maybe.
needs to do what he's doing,
Yeah,
and that's
maybe.
why they were giving him.
That's a possibility.
This time.
That's a possibility. And yes, and if they saw that it was okay, then of course they don't immediately need you shut down.
Yeah, so for some reason I'm defending Apple.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Not
Well-
defending, but you know.
But the thing is, it was the frustrating to me. I'm not disagreeing or completely agreeing, but I'm not disagreeing your point about shutting it down right away. But he asked, "What is it that I need to do?"
Right. Now
Now-
keep in mind, he had 30 whole days going back and forth with them.
Okay,
I don't understand
See-
how someone that has been doing this for, he said 10 years, right?
Right.
He doesn't know the procedure
I-
already.
Like he doesn't have the technical people there able to take that. Now that looks like not a lot of words, not a lot of description, but someone at his company, you should be able to look up what guideline 2.5.1 is.
Exactly,
and figure it
because you
out.
know it's on your agreement.
They
Yeah.
know what they put in the thing. They know what the problem
Right.
was. They were just trying to win. That's
And
all.
and email is instant.
Mhm.
So
It's
you've
not
got
like you
30
gotta wait.
days.
Yeah, you can
You've
get
got a
emails back and
programming
forth in 2
staff. You
hours.
tell me you can't correct this crap in 30 days from the time that Apple's letting you know? I don't buy that. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to play. I'm just comparing. Again, I'm just comparing something here. And I'm not a developer, so and I hear what you're saying.
And I'm not a developer, but I was a programmer for 34
Right.
years.
But just like you think all you guys think that this developer knew what he was doing.
I think he had to know what he was doing. If he's been doing it 10 years, he's certainly got some people who can program stuff. And I would think 30 days is enough time to fix an emergency, period.
I know what happened.
Go ahead.
This guy's been doing his thing for 10 years. So that means like 7 years ago, he had a good sturdy app and most of the people that developed it moved on.
That could be.
And now he's got a bunch of dimwits
That could
working
be.
for him.
And that easily could happen.
Yeah, and I could totally see that. And now, like, even if he goes out and hires new people and all, they may not understand what's going on.
That's my
a
whole
possibility.
thing. Okay, that's my other thing. I was kind of comparing. Again, I'm just talking from experience. I'm going to speak though too, and Adam experienced this too. Our issues with YouTube. And what comes the first thing that comes to mind is when you were doing that short URL.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Exactly. To this day, you don't know.
Yeah,
and you know.
I was using link shorteners in my descriptions,
and Google didn't, and YouTube didn't like it.
But again, there was no recourse.
There was never a clear explanation.
It's like we're going to take it. They took it down. Did they take it down, or did they got a strike?
I got a strike.
You got a strike.
Yeah, and they took it down.
And it did
because if they're going to give me a strike, they're going to take the video down.
Okay, but you had to like scratch your head, and to this day, you're still guessing to the point. I want to defend this developer a little bit. That in the verbiage, he just got here. Go to this rule book section, and I understand. All right, sit down, but there's got to be a point where he's like, it's a guessing game. There's no response.
Well, if Adam is right, that absolutely does happen at companies where some geniuses, even in programming, some geniuses develop some great system of programming, and they leave, and the people coming in, no clue.
Right.
That does happen.
Right.
Yeah. What?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
I don't know.
I forgot.
I can't hear what you were saying. Hold on. Let me kill your mic. All right, say it. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see.
Yeah, I've been doing it.
Okay.
Every so
my
often.
mic back on?
Yes, your mic is back on.
You want to play the last line anyway? The last piece there?
Sure, I do.
I think.
All right.
That's terrible. I mean, these developers knew what they were doing, but in these kinds of situations, over-communications is the only decent recourse for everyone involved. And if Apple hadn't removed the apps, there's a very real possibility the Times and or some other pub would have run just as breathless a piece titled, "Apple fails to act on App Store abuses, puts the privacy of children at risk." We know that because we've seen them do just that. They're supposed to do just that. Sometimes wrongly, sometimes rightly, but either way, repeatedly, again and again.
See? That's just, yeah, he's absolutely right.
He is right. Yes.
So,
sadly. Also, not that I want to bring this to a halt, but Fat Produce had a question in the room. But once we wrap up, I think we can.
What phones are y'all rocking? What's an ATM?
At the moment.
Oh,
That's an ATM.
I knew you were going. Go ahead. Come on. Pun.
I was going to say it's a bank machine. Well, everybody knows that where you get money.
I thought it was going to be a pun. Okay, never mind. So we're almost to the end here. We're really close to the end. I didn't know.
But this is the last clip I have.
Yeah.
But
we're almost
very close
through
to
this.
the end, and I thought of the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper. We're very, very near the end. Okay, sorry.
Everything's a song for George.
It really
Everything bring
is.
up a song. George.
That's true.
I'm surprised George hasn't made musicals in his life.
Yeah.
I've been in the Pajama Game. I got to be, not only did I get to sing, I got to be one of the featured dancers too.
Sweet.
And the following year, they offered me the lead role in Pippin.
Ooh.
But I was going to college by that time, so I couldn't take it.
Nice.
Can we? I want to ask the guys. With the Diane Sawyer special, can we all watch it and maybe talk a little bit about it next week?
You're going to make me suffer. You're really going to make me suffer.
Because we're all going to suffer.
That's going to be.
And if Adam's free Friday,
Okay.
would you care to join me on that?
I am not going to be free Friday because I'm either having game night or I'm doing a reaction thing to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back May 10th.
Do they?
So
Okay.
I'm very
Gotcha.
excited for that.
Okay, now my question is,
Shoot, go.
Uh-oh.
this tomorrow I'll be driving over 700 miles going home. Can I go find this thing that Diane Sawyer's?
He
Putting
told
on-
me it's going to be on demand.
Oh, okay, so I can get it from
Yeah,
the ABC app.
and that
Okay.
thing's on right now.
Right, I know.
This
I know.
special.
It's on
Okay,
now
all right.
until
Right.
10.
So
Right.
I definitely won't be looking.
Don't
at
tune
this
away though, people.
until at least Sunday.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, it should be on. I would imagine it would be on the ABC app.
Be reasonable, people. Would you rather look at Diane Sawyer or us? All right, never mind. Scratch the question.
So any closing thoughts before I go into mine? Anybody?
I think
All
Apple was
hail
right.
Apple, our overlords.
I
What?
think they were right.
I'm not
Yeah,
positive Apple was right, but I'm kind of leaning on Apple's
And I
side.
don't think
I
it's a-
do think the Times is dead wrong because this is nothing but sensationalism on their part, and to me, this is typical New York Times crap.
Apple could have been better about it, but they
exactly.
were well within their right.
Will?
I think they were right, and I don't think it was nothing to do with being anti-competitive or whatever. Spotify's there, Google
And I think you
Music's
made a
there,
very good point
Yeah.
Google
about that, Will.
Assistant, you can get Alexa, you can get, so if there was, you know what I mean, Apple wouldn't have
That does
no
bring up a
other
point too.
assistants, no other music apps, no other, so
There's a section, I don't know if George, if you caught this too, in the New York Times piece about Apple's facing accusations that is abusing its domain position, dominant position to lift,
Yeah, so that.
and bury rivals.
And that's mostly from the EU, isn't it? Isn't that mostly
Right,
coming from Europe?
Well, there Spotify. Well, we talk about Spotify.
That's where Spotify sued
Right.
the first in Europe.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And Dutch regulators this month that would investigate whether Apple abused its control of the App Store. Of course, there's also the matter of the Elizabeth Warren, who wants to potentially separate the App Store as a
That's
separate
right.
entity. Yeah, well, that's a discussion for another day.
I'm not going to talk about Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Apple's,
I'll
not,
shut up.
Apple's not having it.
Right.
Okay, but there's a specific reason why Spotify was smart to start this in the European Union. Because the European Union has a history of
Okay.
going after American companies, big tech companies like Google and Microsoft,
George wrote a lot
and
about this stuff.
going into their
Uh-oh.
pocket. And you can look on mobilegeezer.wordpress.com and just do a
Put it
search
there,
on
bud. That's a good plug.
do a search on European Union, and
Yeah.
you'll find a
Oh,
whole
man.
bunch of articles of how the European Union likes to stick their hand because they hate big American companies making a lot of money. I'm done. That was my rant.
You
That's
really
true.
have a thing about you're not going to Europe anytime soon, are you?
I'll go to Europe and I'll dare them to come and get me. No,
Are,
just kidding.
Are you
Just
kidding me?
kidding.
They got
just
your
kidding.
picture up everywhere.
Yeah, they probably do.
I dropped a link to George's website.
No,
in
no,
the,
he ain't
in
coming
the-
in here.
in the chat.
So, all right. Well, I'm going to put it go now with my ending thoughts, and people, as I read this, just bear with me because there's a motive behind all this.
Oh boy.
And please, anybody chime in. Anybody in the room chime in, please. As I put it as my ending thoughts. For the last year or so, I've been seeing a disturbing trend in the tech community go on YouTube and Twitter, having a verbal slugfest over at times, to me, as childish issues. Apple is better than Android. Android's better than iPhone. Don't tag me on a tweet that get more get more views. And the one that left me speechless was, let's make YouTube great again.
I hadn't heard that one. That's pretty good.
Yeah, we'll talk about that off air. To me, folks, this is beyond trolling. This is on borders on hate, and probably is hate. There's a lot of wasted energy out there, going out there on the socials. All right. Today we live in a social environment. Okay. I can probably get 10 people and only one person I can think of, Joe Klein, that doesn't have no care or doesn't want anything to do with Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. All right.
I know others, but I know a lot of people my age.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, but there's a lot of wasted energy. As I stated in the beginning, okay, wait a minute. Okay, I know that I'm getting.
He can't read his own writing.
This one is all him.
Yeah, but you're probably asking yourself where you're driving at. As I stated in the beginning, the masses can be easily influenced by the news and social media. Here is where the wasted energy needs to go. Let us, the tech community, inform and educate the masses. Let us dismiss the doom and gloom. We need to do our own fact checking, and I feel fact checking, and share it with those masses to see if Big A, we know who A is, and Big
Me.
G. Big A or Big G is really the bad guy,
We're
or
talking
are they
about you
really-
and me, Adam. Okay.
Hey, nice.
yeah, I've got a G over here.
Yeah.
is really the hero. Is it the software or the app a go or no go? Is it worth downloading and not to download? I've been saying for a while that it's not all about the hardware. It's the hardware is always the same blessed thing.
Basically, you're right.
Okay. Except for folding phones. We'll talk later.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's what's in the device. It's in what's in the phone and what the phone is capable of doing. And what's here on my laptop or your tablet, or in your case, the watch, what it can do. We need to dismiss all this stuff. We as community, and I think us grassroots folks, that's how I want to call this, from Will to Adam to you, everybody should take a responsibility to dismiss this. How'd you call it again? I'm sorry. What about Diane Sawyer's piece?
Oh, the
It left me that quick.
gap in between.
No, you called it where it's just pure garbage.
Sensationalism.
Yes, and how the New York Times reported this. That's what really spoke to me. That's what spoke to me about Ritchie's piece, that he did break it down. Granted, he is an Apple fanboy, but he really, really, really did a great job of putting the facts out there, and putting aside his passion for Apple. As I said before, and sometimes I try and interject, that if this was Google, it would be a different conversation. And I really think Rene Ritchie might have stepped up to the plate and have this conversation. He's touched Android stuff before. He's messed around with it before. But I feel all of this nonsense that's on the Twitters and on Facebook. We're not tech reviewers by sitting here and saying, "Do you trust this reviewer? Do you trust that reviewer?" No, that's sensationalism.
No, she'll get you views.
Get you some views.
Yeah, I understand that. But if you do a good hard drill on the subject matter,
right, or
on an app or on a particular software, we have a new operating system coming out in a few weeks, with Google.
Right.
Okay, I don't know much about it. Because you know why? My time's always taken up by looking at this stuff.
Well, I know quite a bit about it because of all the people that have already posted videos and stories about it.
Have you played with it?
No,
have you had
no.
That's what
but
I'm
I
saying.
could get the beta if I wanted to. I just
Well, all the things that you're saying is the same stuff that's going on with the news.
Thank you, Adam. That's
You're welcome,
right
sir.
on the money.
What's that?
Right on
Everything's sensationalistic.
That's right. It's the same with politics. It's the same old crap, and that's why I said from the beginning. Just sounds like normal New York Times crap to me.
So, and for the guys doing YouTube. No, a lot of people on YouTube aren't there to try and be hard-hitting journalists.
Right.
Some of them just want to talk tech stuff and get famous and get a little bit of money.
That's true. But I think the bottom line. Now, Mike, tell me if I'm understanding you. I think the bottom line. Let's stop the doom and gloom, and especially if we, at any point, like Rene Ritchie took to the point of being a tech journalist in this particular video. So if any of us can do that, but if we're going to make a video making ourselves a journalist for that particular video, then don't sensationalize it. Just tell the truth, be fair, and say. Now, the other issue that you raised at the end, Mike, is out on Twitter. There is an awful lot of hatred going on between tech people, especially YouTubers. Well, I do this and you did that and you're stupid and I,
because that gets views too.
Who needs all this crap? Here's how I look at it. And yes, I am not as critical as most YouTube reviewers. That's intentional. More forgiving. I didn't go nuts because I saw a freaking notch and I'm not about to. And I said for 6 months, well, I think when I see a notch, it's not going to bother me. Well, I've had the notch for over 6 months and it doesn't bother me. But I'm not going to criticize every little thing a company does. And I'm certainly not going to criticize other YouTubers who I think are trying hard to grow just like I am. And I'm going to throw hatred around on Twitter about them, or should
No.
This is stupid to me, you know.
And that's what I'm
And
doing. That's what I'm
you
getting
will
at.
never, ever hear me say, until I drop dead, that I hurt somebody. There is no person on this planet I hate, and never will be. I hate some things people do. I could kick the crap out of somebody for it, but these people are throwing around hatred. Hatred is not something that should be throwing
Who wants to
around,
see George
folks.
kick the crap out of something?
No, I'm dead serious. Hatred is not something
Right,
to be
right.
bandied about, and we certainly it does no one any good to just go out there on Twitter and call each other names and all that. That's just my opinion.
No,
but
no,
that's
no.
kind of your point.
That's
Yes?
kind of my point.
Okay.
And all the energy that goes into it.
Yeah.
I think though there's a missing opportunity. If you want the clicks and the views, put out the truth out there.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And come across stuff like this. I had a moment last year when Adam and I did a live stream, and that's what brought this up, was because Android Central did a podcast about updates. Remember that, Adam? We played the segments of that, and
that was supposed to be Kumbaya.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it was.
So that's that I felt that it was important enough to sit down and take their views and let it be known and share those facts out there. Now, did I ever get a chance to carry it? No, I didn't get a chance to carry it on, but that's where I think though where this needs to go. I think we all should get together, do collabs, do all this. And there's an article like this and Diane Sawyer thing, which I know you're loving. I can't wait to hear. We need to make it right. Let's get the word out and tell our friends and family. Listen what I'm going to tell you. Don't dismiss it. I know it's hard though. It's hard to tell the masses. Don't download this app. Don't get this software. What was that? That Showtime or no Box? What's that? Where you can get that app on Android, where you can get movies for free. Showbox, for example. That thing I've heard various people talk about. Well, I had Showbox, and I think I got I got some kind of virus or something in my phone, or Facebook is notorious. I freak at Pat at times, and she knows now finally. Hopefully, she's probably not listening to this.
They never listen.
But I don't know if I said this before. I know if I said this. She went to a site and she saw, oh, look at this, and it was so clickbait. It was so much but it got her attention. Whatever, I forget. I think it was makeup. It was makeup. I remember now. It was makeup.
Big House has an answer. What you're talking about? Big House Production says telling the truth causes Twitter fingers too. People only want to believe their own truths. He's got a pretty good point there, But I guess my point was all this negativity at other people is not going to help anybody. Just my opinion.
Phone Tech at work says, let's keep the peace. Hey, brother, we're all being peaceful. I just want to spread more peace around. You know what I mean? So anyway, get back to the thing about my wife. What she did was she clicked on it to look. She thought, and it was innocent enough. I have to say this: it's innocent enough. She clicked on something, and the site wouldn't allow her to stop. It made her put her name and address in.
That's a virus,
right?
Yeah.
Off of Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. So this stuff is out there, and I tell her all the time: don't click on nothing. Right. If you see something you want to get, if you want to shop online, then go and Google it.
Yeah, and go do some research on it.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Well, it seems the Facebook sites are the ones that are the troublemakers. Instead of it doesn't give you directly, it's sending you to another
you somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
If you see XYZ makeup that grabs your attention, go Google that and find out the source. And I eventually show her.
And then you can go to XYZ makeup.
Right. And then on top of that, they got the tabs like one says shopping.
Right.
So you can click on that and look at all your options. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much where I was going with this. How the story was presented, how a YouTuber took the time to break it down,
yes,
and explain that, and then it's really bothered me a lot about how there is no peace, Alan. There's no peace in the tech community. Thank goodness, though, there's only a small group of us, and we apparently have somewhat of a shield.
Can I say something?
Oh, please.
All we are saying is give peace a chance. I had to get that out there.
He's never sang this much before.
No.
I think it's the mic stand is bringing him back.
Maybe it's been 5 years out of music. It's all starting to bubble
I
up.
think it's go with the mic stand thing. So, So, listen, we got 15 minutes. Will, do something.
Do something. There you go. No pressure. No pressure.
Dance a
Something for me
jig.
to perform? I don't know.
Come on, man. You've been
Juggle.
awfully quiet.
We ain't got no story,
Except
Mike.
you've been laughing over there.
Mike, find a
Do
story.
a rap,
you
brother.
Come on,
Yeah.
you find a story, not
Let me
me.
see.
What about that story that you guys
Oh,
cut?
that one was real long. It
Oh,
was real
okay.
long. See
Well,
what's
you
going
know,
on.
There's no rule that says we have to use up the last 15 minutes
Yeah,
either.
but you're here. We got to. We got to find something good.
It's my fault.
It is.
Let's blame the old guy.
That's right.
Okay.
Nice.
Here.
Here we go. Here goes.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Will's got something.
Sprint document points to the carrier selling the Pixel 3 XL,
Yes.
Pixel 3A, and Pixel 3A XL.
There we go.
Wow.
Yeah, we were talking about that before. It seemed like the 3 and a 3A and a 3A XL
Y'all see them
might
at
be
Best Buy?
at Best Buy.
They got them in Best Buy already.
At other
put 'em out.
carriers.
They already put them out because they look like the same
Did
phone.
they really?
It was they already leaked it. A couple Best Buys had them in the thing already.
Cool.
Not really
Cool.
for Google. The phones. It's
No,
not supposed to come
but
out
I mean,
till
cool
next week.
for us, the
Oh,
public.
well, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't out to demo, but
Okay.
it was in the, you could see it out.
I got a question real quick. What was that whole thing? And if you talked about, I'm sorry, but what was the whole thing about OnePlus dunking a phone in the water? Are they? You think they're coming out with a what IP rating, or they're just?
I don't think they're gonna have the rating because they said the rating costs money. So I think they're just gonna make it. You know what I mean? They're gonna tell you that it can survive, but I don't think they're the actual rating because that's what the Alan had said. Just like the IP rating costs you money or something like buckets or something, and they threw the phone in the.
Did you guys see? I think a Droid Life posted.
My dog is howling.
What's that?
RP3 Tech Review. George was singing.
Thank you, Rob. You're so supportive.
Listen to this while doing my nails. You guys,
Doing my daughter's
thank you.
nails.
Thank you, Catwoman.
I'm
George,
thanking her
my
right
mom,
now.
My mom said, my mom.
Oh.
My dog is howling.
You better not say we need some kind of filler here because Bobcho will come right back here.
And yeah, and she can sing and I can sing.
Yeah.
You know, we could do Islands in the Stream. We could do Where Is the Love, whatever you
Oh
want.
no, my computer is overheating. I have to shut it down.
And don't ever get me going on the old song. I really get into that. Just letting you know.
Oh, wow.
Did you guys see Droid Life saying that the Twitter account for HTC was dead and they responded?
Ah, and they responded how?
Let me see. Let me go to Twitter.
Beep.
Yeah, I know.
Who was it that predicted the first company that's going to die this year is going to be H? Oh, that's right. It was me. Oh, yeah.
Well, they're not dead yet, George.
Okay. The year's not out yet, is it?
No.
True.
And I'm not wishing it on them, but to me, it looks kind of obvious. Hey, you've got a Doctor Who scarf in here.
Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
I got all kind of nerdy stuff on the walls. You checked out all my walls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big Doctor Who fan.
The Doctor Who stuff.
I'm a Whovian since 1975 or something like that. Big House says Will has been really quiet. Usually he's all over George about something.
Yeah,
Well, sure, I'm right next to the brother
topic-
now. Hey, go ahead, say something to me, brother.
I don't know. Keep the peace, right?
What is this?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a little Doctor
I
Who.
got Doctor Who stuff in my hands.
Yeah, man, it's good stuff. I got all kind of
Isn't
I got all kind of nerdery
Isn't
going
it
on
easy to?
there. Hey, come on now. All good.
Oh.
All right. I think we should wrap up because
Okay.
we've had a good.
We had a good show.
What's the
Yeah.
old song? Wrap it up. I'll take
Did you get,
it.
what was that? The Thunderbirds or was
Thunderbirds,
it Thunderbirds? Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. That was what was that guy? There were two brothers, and one of them went on.
I didn't even know who that. I knew who the Thunderbirds
No,
were.
yeah, no,
But
they
they only had two.
Stevie
hits
Ray
on-
Vaughan. It was
Stevie Ray,
Vaughan,
okay.
and then his brother. That was his brother's band. He was on the band. He
That's
played.
right, I did hear
Mhm.
that. Yeah, because
Yes.
they had Wrap It Up and they had
My man
Tough
Steve,
Enough.
my man Stevie, man, he
No,
can
Stevie, who doesn't love Stevie
uh,
Ray
he
Vaughan?
can
Come
cut
on.
he can cut the guitar nice.
Yeah.
So, well, okay, we're going to wrap it up as my brother
Wrap
recommended.
it up.
See, now I got Adam doing it.
Take it. Okay,
I'm a
not
bad
going to try and sing
influence.
because I'm
Yeah.
going to break something here.
Oh.
Who's
Oh,
doing?
we can break dance.
Yeah. Well, somebody's doing nails. Did I see?
Yeah,
Yes.
you
Oh,
read
they're
that one already.
They're doing nails.
And
Well,
she said we rock.
Oh, thank you. But if
Yeah,
I
we
start
go.
singing, then you're going to take those nails and go on a chalkboard, you know, because that's how I sound.
So
Anyway.
you're saying when I sing, I nailed it?
Oh.
Goodbye, everyone.
Okay.
Click.
Let me go start again from Adam,
Oh.
Mr.
That's me.
57, and hey, Heinz 57.
There you go. That's
And
right.
George and be me. So Adam, take it away. Now give an outro on your channel.
I am Adam of Geekheim on the Twitters and on YouTube. It's Geekheim. You can see in my background there, I got all the kind of stuff that I talk about. Doctor Who,
That's right.
Game of Thrones stuff, Star Wars, board games, card games, Minecraft, sometimes with my son and sometimes with my daughter. Weird. But yeah, so thank you. Stop on by, give me a like or a sub or whatever. You don't have to.
They
Don't
talk
worry about it.
Star Trek is good stuff.
Yeah,
stuff.
it is. And Ages of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes
I
back
come
Friday.
on it, mind you too.
Yeah. He bookended the season for me
Mhm.
with questions of things he didn't understand.
Yes,
But
yes.
it's okay. All right.
You're new
So-
to it, Mike.
I'm sorry.
You're new to it. Star Trek.
I've been, but I like the thing. I got a bunch of questions. I give it to him. He kind of puts it in perspective the best he can.
Yeah, the new stuff is very, very intricate and it's got deep storylines going on. And some of it does need, going over.
And sometimes to give Chris a break too.
Oh.
So,
All right. Who's next?
Will.
Thanks everybody for coming. Where are we on next?
Next week we are on the Mobile
Next
Geezer
week we'll
channel.
be on George's
Friday
channel.
night.
Yes.
Alan says, someone get Will off his phone. He's such a millennial.
No, Alan, that never stops. That's impossible.
Hopefully, everybody has a good weekend. See y'all next week on George's channel.
Hey, you doing a
and
double?
I'm almost no.
All right, good
I
for
got out of
you.
it.
Good
I got
for
out of
you.
it.
All right.
I was penciled
Okay.
in, but
Doing
I got
double
somebody to
what?
work for me.
A
Double shift.
At work. I was
Ooh.
supposed to work
He's
until
been doing a lot of
3
doubles
tomorrow.
on
Yeah.
So he's not
Friday
so
and Saturday.
shifty this week.
I got,
Okay.
got somebody to work for me.
So
All right, George.
All right. So Mobile Geezer. Next week we will be on my channel, Mobile Geezer. Next Friday night Tech Talk, 8 p.m. And you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And for that one or two persons who hasn't seen it, Avengers Endgame was one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. It's awesome.
There's one of there's one of the people that didn't see it.
yeah.
Right there.
Never
Okay,
seen
well,
it either.
you need to see
There
this.
you go. George,
What?
me neither.
Okay, we got two here. I'm telling you,
It was good.
awesome.
I would have
Awesome.
to
Did
watch.
you see the?
I would
Did you
have to
see?
watch how many years worth of movies to catch up.
You gotta go back.
The only one I saw
It's
was
only
Iron
10
Man.
years.
Start
It's
with
only
Captain
21 movies.
America
Oh.
and go
Now,
forward.
Is it? I thought everybody's saying it was Iron Man
No,
that started. it.
no, you got to start with Captain America to see all the way to the dance, to the very end.
But
When they dance, what did he?
oh, this movie you're talking about.
right. Yeah,
Okay.
you got to
yeah.
start with Captain America and go forward from there. And to me, perfect.
No.
Not just good, perfect.
It was- yeah. You ain't lying. But with Mike, we'll fix that
No,
when we
we're
go on
going
vacation.
Okay.
We're going to be on vacation,
And then we'll
in 2
talk
weeks.
about it.
Okay.
Adam's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
go
Well,
see
you
it
do.
again.
That'd be cool.
Oh, and I
Oh,
forgot to
yeah, I'm
mention
definitely
my
seeing it again.
website, mobilegeezer.wordpress.com. Normally I do at least one article every Sunday. I'll be getting home tomorrow night, so I should be able to do one.
You still got to get one out.
I'll probably still get one.
Okay.
Well, Big House didn't see it yet either, and that's okay because we need to keep it number one for many, many, many weeks.
That's why I didn't
So
give
that's
any
good.
spoilers.
Yes,
All
good.
I'm saying is, if you're
Oh,
an
yeah.
Avengers fan, to me, it was dead on perfect.
Okay. All
That
right.
was good stuff.
Well, I'm Mike Dixon. This is Simply Device at Studio 2 with my brother Adam. Thank you so much, Adam, for providing
You're welcome,
this.
brother.
I want to take a moment for Will. Thank you for stopping by,
Yeah, no
coming
problem.
over. I think we got to do this again, but of course, George, if you can come up, but maybe we need to do a stream with the three of us.
Yeah,
on a Friday.
As long as
So-
Will
Hey,
doesn't
it's only
mind coming to mine.
730 miles for me to drive here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming up. This is great. I'm already spooling in my head. Maybe between the holidays, like Christmas to New Year's, I'm going to try and I am taking a few days off. I'm going to try and save my vacation time then.
Okay.
So maybe something will be in the works.
Okay.
Awesome.
So hear that, Will?
Yep.
Take some time off.
Yeah.
I need somebody help me drive.
He
If
hardly
you're
ever does
willing.
that.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, I'm Mike Dixon. This is Simply Your Device. You like today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like today's video, don't give it a thumbs down. Tell me why in the comments, but really it shouldn't be nothing you didn't like. I think everything was awesome and cool. And as always, start the conversation. We'll see you guys next Friday on
Mobile Geezer
Mobile
channel.
Geezer.
Good night. Thanks, everyone.
Good night, all.